Welcome to Julie's Got You Covered, the podcast where Julie Sears, founder of Integrity Health Insurance Advisors, takes the fear out of finding the right health insurance. With 7+ years of experience, she's here to make finding the perfect coverage a breeze. Stay tuned for details on how you can snag a free 30-minute consultation.
Life gets busy and sometimes a bill slips through the cracks. But when it's your health insurance premium, what's at stake? Julie Sears of Integrity Health Insurance explains what happens if you miss a payment, how much grace you really have, and what to do if you find yourself in a lapse of coverage. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Sophia Yvette, co-host / producer, back in the studio with Julie Sears. Julie, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So, Julie, what happens if I miss a premium payment?
You have a 30-day grace period to get that payment in, and they will keep that policy in force. If you go beyond that 30 days, some companies may give you a few days grace if there was a holiday or something in there, but typically they do not have to continue your coverage. Unfortunately, it does not give you a qualifying reason to enroll in new coverage. Some people assume that they lose coverage, but losing coverage due to non-payment is not a qualifying reason. So if you are ever found in that situation, we can either look at private options at that point, or we might have to look at some type of limited benefit plan, just depending on the situation, or short-term. Short-term legislation is back in the news again, but as of right now, you can only keep a short-term plan for 4 months. So it's best to make sure that those are on auto draft and that those aren't going to be missed, because it is, like you said, life gets busy. It just happens to the best of us that something can slip through the cracks. Just don't want to find out in the worst possible time while you're at the emergency room or trying to schedule an appointment for a follow-up and find out then, whoops, you forgot to make that payment.
So, Julie, in those emergency situations, let's say you find out that you're pregnant, what would my options be in emergency health coverage, let's call it?
So, while pregnancy is a beautiful thing, it is the worst when you are unprepared. Private options do not cover maternity coverage. And because, of course, insurance is looking at the risk assessment. So, worst case scenario, they're looking at it from the standpoint of if it turns into a high risk or really crazy delivery with a surgical delivery, and heaven forbid a NICU for the baby, that is a very high, expensive cost. And so they just do not cover it. So short-term limited benefits, even the share plans will not cover if it was not active prior to that pregnancy being confirmed. So at that point, it is just kind of trying to mitigate the loss and get you some type of emergency coverage, but it will not actually cover any of the labor and delivery or those prenatal care. It's just for maybe some negotiated rates. But luckily, we live in an area where we have some really good cash rates for delivery. I've had several clients where they weren't properly planned and they've still been minimally impacted by the cash rates. Thankfully, they were uneventful deliveries, just got to go with the sweet baby at the end of the day.
Well, that's good to hear, right?
Yeah, those were best case scenarios. I have had those calls, though, where someone is high risk. It just hurt my soul a little bit that the offerings are so limited, which is why we do have to try to plan ahead. I know it takes the romance out of it a little bit, but trying to plan ahead and have the right protection in place prior to any of those life events happening.
So, Julie, is there a grace period or do I need to start selling homemade cookies immediately to cover the bill?
For missing a premium, you have a 30-day grace period. For pregnancy, I would definitely start selling cookies before you get really tired. Try to push those as much as possible, because out of pocket is probably anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 cash for a normal labor and delivery. It's a lot of cookies.
A ton of cookies. Julie, what steps should someone take immediately if they realize they miss a payment?
Figure out when that payment was due and either call their insurance company ASAP or get online to the portal and make sure that you've got that payment made and probably set that up on an ACH auto draft so that you don't have to worry about it ever again. If it is beyond that 30-day grace period, give me a call and I will do everything I can to try to find an alternative plan to get in place and hopefully still match that same comprehensive coverage that you had. The ACA does not have a lot of forgiveness. And unfortunately, if you are receiving any type of subsidy and those tax credits, those will all be lost. So that is when it is most important to make sure you stay on top of it. Because if you are getting any reduced rates on the ACA, you won't get them anywhere else.
If a policy lapses due to non-payment, what options are available for reinstatement or obtaining new coverage?
Reinstatement won't be possible until open enrollment. So depending on the time of year, that could leave you very exposed in the event of something happening. For alternative coverage, we've got private options. There are some short-term plans. And then, of course, limited benefit plans are kind of a dime a dozen. Some are better than others. I always take the approach, any coverage is better than none. I've had several people reach out this week that they can't get an appointment with a specialist due to the fact that they are uninsured currently. So they are trying to remedy that situation. But once you have a pre-existing, the options do become more limited. So always try to be proactive and get those policies in place prior to anything happening.
Love it, Julie. We'll catch you in the next episode. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks for tuning in to Julie's Got You Covered. Ready to say goodbye to insurance stress? Head to integrityhealthinsuranceadvisors.com or call 469-348-4066. That's 469-348-4066 to book your free 30-minute consultation. With Julie, health insurance doesn't have to be scary. She's got you covered.